writing or presenting a speech. So it's been, and I've done a lot of these. So not to a group like this, but with alumni groups and things like that. But thank you and greetings to everyone. Members of the school board, Mr. Supervisor, Dr. Rice, distinguished faculty, administration, parents, family, friends, and graduates. I'm totally honored and humbled to be here tonight, and I'm sure you're wondering, who is this guy that was chosen as your speaker? Well, the truth is, just like you guys, I'm an ordinary person who once was in this audience at a Loyal Sock commencement. Athletics always played an important part in my life. I played basketball and golf here at Loyal Sock, not very well, I might add. I didn't play football, but Ken Robbins, who was the coach and athletic director and whom this stadium is named for, asked me to be his unofficial student assistant athletic director. That didn't mean much more than keeping stats for the radio broadcasts. But to this day, I think I was the good luck charm for the only undefeated football season in Loyal Sock history. Academics was extremely important too, and I did pretty well. Well enough that 2 years after I left, my sister Jill kept hearing, "Why can't you be more like your brother?" At Penn, I majored in accounting, thinking I would either join my father's furniture business here in Williamsport or go on to law school, but without a clear-cut vision of the future. And I'm sure many of you, if not all of you, are unsure of what lies ahead. But that's okay. At 17 or 18, you're not supposed to know what your future holds. I was always an avid sportsman. I attended college and pro games in Philadelphia when I was at school and joined the student radio station to broadcast Penn games. In the fall of my senior year in college, still unsure of what I was going to do, 2 different people sent me a Wall Street Journal article on the same day about a fairly new master's program in sports administration at Ohio University. Now, I dreamed about working in sports, and maybe that might help me get into the broadcast booth. I was accepted into the Ohio program thinking that I'd work in the business side of sports. I landed an internship with the New York Jets during Joe Namath's last year, and they let me see everything in the organization. My first day, I was cutting the grass on the practice field. The second day, I was bringing bedboards to the dorms at Hofstra for training camp, and I was thinking, what did I get myself into? But I learned a very valuable lesson. Be willing to take on any task with a smile, and it will be rewarded. Eventually, I distributed players' tickets, wrote an article for the game program, handled weekly press conferences. Our coach was the infamous Dr. Lou Holtz. I assisted the film director and did lots of other odd jobs. Well, I quickly realized that I didn't want to be an accountant or work on the business side. I really wanted to be in public relations, produce publications, handle press conferences, arrange interviews, make speeches occasionally. What I really liked was that in PR I worked with everyone from the management to the coaches to the players to the media to the fans. Anyway, at the end of my internship, I was fortunate enough to be offered a public relations position with the New York Yankees at 23 years old, but not before someone else had turned it down. 2 more lessons learned. Don't worry about being the first choice as long as you're the ultimate choice. And secondly, treat everyone as though they are the most important person in the organization. My boss had told me one of the deciding factors in favor of me was that I had recommendations from both the Jets general manager and the Jets assistant equipment manager. He told me that anyone that can get along with the guy at the top of the organization and someone near the bottom of that organization could do the job and work with anyone, even mercurial personalities like George Steinbrenner, Billy Martin, and Reggie Jackson. That's how I ended up with a career in sports public relations, a job that most American males and many females would give their left arm for. I never did get into the broadcast booth full time, but I did have the opportunity to do several sports broadcasts through the years as a fill-in, and I've been fortunate enough to work with some of the most famous sports broadcasters of all time, people your parents and grandparents know, like Jim McKay, Howard Cosell, and Keith Jackson when I worked at ABC, and some you may know, like Jim Nance, Brent Musburger, and Kirk Herbstreit. I've met and worked with Halls of Famers and giants in the sports world. Not only the 2 world championship rings, but I also have 3 college national championship rings. And I'm here to tell you that, like me, with a Loyal Sock education, you can do anything you want. You can be a Harvard law professor, an expert on technology law like Larry Lessing, or president of Utz Potato Chips like Tom Dempsey, a longtime friend whose sister and wife were in my class, or become an Academy Award-winning character creator like Tom Woodruff Jr., or be on top of the music industry like my brother's best friend Rick Krim, an executive at MTV, VH1, and EMI Records during his career. You're fortunate to come from a school that ranks in the top 5% of all high schools in the country. That's an incredible number, and I think faculty, administration, everybody associated with the school deserves a hand for that. That's an incredible accomplishment. Called by several publications as one of America's best high schools, a potential U.S. Department of Education National Blue Ribbon Award winner, and a faculty that has been recognized more times than I can mention. It's not the Loyal Sock I remember, but it probably is the Loyal Sock I came from when I look at people like Lessig, Dempsey, Woodruff, and Krim. And there are many others. A friend of mine a year ahead of me in school had a very successful brokerage business in Reading. He also had a young teen daughter who was writing and singing music and wanted a chance to make it. So he packed his family up and moved from Reading to Nashville. You may have heard of Scott Swift's daughter, a young lady named Taylor.
Yeah, her dad.
Yes, her father graduated from Loyal Sock, so I guess that makes Taylor Swift a daughter of Loyal Sock. I've learned that athletics plays a very important part in the development of young people. When you get out in the business world, you'll find that leadership, teamwork, working together for a common goal, integrity, work ethic, character, and accountability are crucial attributes to have. And those are things that while you may learn them in the classroom, you develop them on the playing fields and courts. I don't want to leave out other extracurricular activities such as drama, band, and the many clubs that exist. Those same attributes are nurtured through participation in those as well. I know from firsthand from having a daughter who was in musical theater at her high school in Florida. When I was in high school here at Loyal Sock, we only had 5 sports. You've won 4 state championships in sports that didn't exist at Loyal Sock when I was there: baseball, soccer, and softball, plus a 5th in wrestling. That's incredible. Sincere best wishes to Coach Eck and this year's baseball team who've had to overcome an emotional season to reach the state's Final Four again. And I'd also like to acknowledge Coach Insinger, the winningest basketball coach in Pennsylvania history. That is another incredible accomplishment. I wish I'd had the chance to play for you. I want to congratulate you all on reaching this point in your life. Tonight is rightly called a commencement. Many people think it's a culmination, an ending, but the definition is the time when something begins, not ends. No matter if you are starting in the workforce, joining the military, or heading off to college, you will truly begin with that blank slate that you talked about, probably more so at this time in your life than any other. In public relations, I deal in creating perceptions. With that blank slate, you now have the opportunity to create a perception of who you are and what your values are. To show your fellow workers, your fellow students, your bosses, your professors, that you have the work ethic, the integrity, the ability to make a difference. To serve your fellow man through volunteerism. You have an opportunity to establish new relationships, friends who may be with you for a lifetime. As Will Rogers once said, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So be impressive from the very beginning. Look people in the eye when you talk with them. Give a firm handshake. Say please and thank you, and give praise. Smile. I also urge you to dream. Not only dream, but to follow those dreams, as I did. John Wooden, the greatest college basketball coach of all time, once said, "Don't give up on your dreams, or your dreams will give up on you." My family's a perfect example of following your dreams. 9 Walls and Frankels attended Loyal Sock, and no 2 took the same path. We all had different dreams. We all had different goals. About the only thing missing from our group is a teacher, although my nephew Max is close to his teaching degree. But we're hoping my nephew Zach resolves that by turning Miss Beck into Mrs. Wahl. Sorry guys, I just couldn't resist.
I'm not the only one.
Anyway, my brother dreamed of being a pilot and entrepreneur. My nephew Caleb wanted to be a veterinarian. My niece Abby, a graphic designer. Like I said, we all achieved our dreams. And most recently, my niece Betsy, who struggled through a lot of adversity, worked full-time as a single mom, still found time to follow her dreams of a college degree and a new career. Just last month, she graduated from Lycoming at 30 years old with a degree in criminal justice and psychology and is working as a paralegal for the public defender. And the Wahls and Frankels all have something in common with each and every one of you. We were given our foundation for life here at Loyal Sign. However, my slate is virtually full. Yours is still blank. There's a great big wide world out there, and you have the opportunity to do anything you want and fill that slate any way you want. You are the one that is accountable for what you do, nobody else. You cannot succeed if you don't try. Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player of all time, once said, "I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." For those of you going out into the working world, make every day count. Make sure you remain accountable. Be the best at what you do, and don't give up on your dreams. For those of you entering the military, we're grateful in advance for your service. To put yourselves in harm's way to protect our freedom, be strong, and most importantly, be safe. For those of you heading off to college, challenge yourselves, be stimulated, set goals. Embrace being in an academic setting over the next 4 years, and take the opportunity to learn, not just in the classroom, but outside of it. Those 4 years will go by awfully fast. Make sure you don't let it pass you by. When I began preparing to talk to you tonight, I pulled out the Appalachian from my senior year, 1971, the 10th graduating class at Loyal Sign. Through the years, I've picked it up occasionally and read through it, but this was the first time I had paid attention to the words on the front cover and many of the words that were written throughout the book. I'm not sure where they came from or whether one of my classmates wrote them, but they are as relevant for you today as they were for my class. I'm going to leave you with those words, as well as some from the inside of the book. It is here that we are taught to create something solid to build the rest of our lives on, to try to find a use for the facts given to us. We enter ready to leave and leave ready to learn. We won't forget the joys and the laughter, but we'll remember also the pains and the heartaches and the caring too much for something or someone, because these are our growing pains. We have a special way of talking with each other, a view of life that to no one else can share as we escape into the real world. Could we be the beginning of a whole new kind of people who really care? We could be, we just could be. Once again, I want to wish you, your parents, families, heartiest congratulations on this momentous occasion, and thank you for having me back here at Loyal Sign.